This is part 6 of the Marlin 795 automatic bolt release modification. Again, I could have shortened this and made it one part, skipping the in-between steps, but I thought it was informative to show you me struggling with it because, as I've said several times, it's not a factory function. You're going to have to struggle through it a little bit, but for me and the way I like to run my firearms, I think it's worth the time. Alright, so I just bent this tab a little bit, so hopefully it won't get in the way of the bolt when it's moving. Obviously, after this is all done, we're going to have to do some live fire test, but you can see it kind of sits in that spot now. You can always trim off the end if you think it's too long, but we'll start with that. Bend this side. You still get spring tension pushing it back down, and the magazine still pushes it up, so that's looking pretty good. Let's clip off the extra part we don't need. That side. You can bend this as you see fit. I like to put it in this little piece down here. Let's see if I can bend it around. Now it kind of engages around there. Oh, came out. Could be a little longer to get behind that. Let me bend it a little further up. I just don't want any sharp parts of the spring sticking out where I'm going to be sticking my fingers to actuate this. So make sure it's not going to be getting me. Push that out of the way. Alright. See, it's engaged behind there now. Hopefully it stays. Alright, that seems pretty good. This part up here, still where it needs to be. Yep. Push that over a little bit. Okay. We're still getting some good spring tension. You can see it's pushing down into the bolt release position. Check our magazine again. And it pushes up in the bolt catch position. Alright, now we can start reassembling it and doing some dry fire tests. We won't need these much anymore. First thing to do is to put the magazine disconnect arm back where it goes. This end's going to go up into this window, and you need to get this whole piece here up in there. It's pretty easy, you can just insert it. So should be able to go pretty much flush, otherwise you haven't inserted enough. Now there's no spring tension on that, so we need to replace the spring that we previously undid. Usually it gets flipped back like this. It's easy, you just push it back with the screwdriver. This spring is going to go underneath here. Again, you can throw your finger on it, so in case you miss, it doesn't fly. You should note, if the original spring for the magazine disconnect can be too long sometimes and hit on our new spring that we installed. That was the case when I first did this, so I actually cut the magazine disconnect spring, and actually now it's still hitting a little bit on the new spring. So I'm going to trim it even further. Just don't trim it so short that it won't engage around this. You can see mine has quite a bit of extra length in there. So I'll undo it. Go. I'll just trim a little bit off, just like a 1/16 of an inch. go. And we'll reinstall it. If it gets too short, you can't push it from the outside, which I'm starting to have a problem with, but I was able to make it work. You can always push it from the inside. It's just your moment arm's going to be shorter, so it's going to be a little bit tougher, but it's not the end of the world. There we go. It's in there. I got some nice spring action for that magazine disconnect. Again, mine's undone, so I can actually fire without a magazine. This is pretty much ready to go back in the rifle. Before we do that, let's just check one more time. We push up, we get some spring action pushing it down. I pull down on it when it comes down to make sure it's coming down all the way. Seems like it's pretty good. I just want to make sure this is engaged well. Not getting any binding with the other springs. The magazine still actuates the whole bolt hold open. And when I remove it, you can see it actually comes down. Here, let me try to do that flat. It's down. I put it in a flat, empty magazine. Comes up. I remove that magazine. This whole bar should come down. See that come down? One more time. There we go. So now we can put it back in the rifle. First, you grab. All right, you know what? We'll do the reassembly in the next part.